Hi, and welcome back to the Four of Wands podcast. This is episode 4 now.
I have lost count.
Well, welcome back anyway. How are you, Wolf? How's your week been?
It's been good. Been pretty stable so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yours?
Holding on to the fabrics of time and space, white knuckling it. She's
Pretty
right.
much. Pretty much. It's one of those kinds of weeks, but
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. My week's been pretty good. Patreon kicked off, first lesson dropped today. All very exciting. I got some feedback pretty much straight away from people, and some feedback that really touched close to home for me. With the people were happy with the accessibility features that I've included. So not just having the video with captions, but also having a written document for each lesson to overview it. So that was some really nice, close to home, wholesome feedback for your girl.
awesome. That's the kind of feedback you want too. It just tells you that you're on your right path, but also it's constructive in a sense, so you can adjust it if need be.
Exactly. So have you got any news for us? What's the
News?
tea? What's happening in the world of Wolf? I know how your week went, but tell me, what color are your underwear?
This is where we watch Yuri go bright red as a tomato with hair.
I can't help it, okay? God bless me with permanent blush, all right?
Half your luck. Half your luck.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But today is a little bit different. So because we had the intro episode and then we had two that were kind of low key serious topics. We wanted to break it up with something a bit different, a little bit fun. So we hit the world of Reddit. Because that's where you go when you want something off kilter.
Right?
So we delved into the depths of Reddit and pulled out some random questions that people have asked in regards to spirituality. But yeah, the depths of Reddit's pretty wild. Did you come across anything weird?
Uh, Look, it's pretty much, I guess, for me, I'd say it'd be stock standard when it comes to things that you kind of are looking at on your journey as you go through things. So for me, it was pretty stock standard, I'd say. Very much the same line of questioning that I guess we deal with on a day-to-day basis in our interactions with people, especially those that are coming into their journey or that are hitting a point where they need a little more guidance because they're, I guess, what we would call at a dark night of the soul or the crossroads where they really start questioning things. So yeah, a couple of questions came about. What about you? Did you find any trends in your searches?
I got stuck on the new age side. And let me just be clear in my stance on new ageism. You believe whatever you want to believe, but in the wise words of Euryale, we're on my page, so we're going to talk about my beliefs. No, I just look, when it comes to new age spirituality, your girl just struggles to find much good in it, because it's very cherry picking and it's very disempowering in a way that's guises it as being empowering. So I don't like that.
One could almost say it teeters on the religious side of things
Oh,
with
don't
the
even get me
way.
started. When it comes to new age spirituality, it's like one stone's throw away from the far right. It's like, just look at friggin' Doreen Virtue as a prime example of what happens to most people. They go so
Mm,
far into New Age spirituality that they get spooked because they haven't laid strong foundations of what is reality. They've just kind of like jumped into it,
hmm.
and teetered on surface level stuff. And then when they actually get to a point where they're dealing with deeper things, they get spooked and turn back to what appears to be safety, which is either giving up on spirituality altogether or turning back to religion. But this is a whole nother episode that we will discuss. Before I go on a tangent on my soapbox. Hear ye, hear ye.
Where's the bells?
Literally. Okay,
Oh.
but do we want to do scissors, paper, rock to see who goes first?
Scissors is always going to win.
Just because you're lesbian.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we're going to do this in real time.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Ready? Scissors,
Scissors,
paper,
paper, rock.
rock.
Scissors never wins.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to double bluff you. I was just like, if I do it after they've said it, they won't suspect it. But always suspect the unsuspectable. I almost
That's
stuttered
right.
then.
So, to what?
Right? My stutter almost came out. I've worked
Oh
hard and long.
no. All right, well, I'll kick off. The first question that I came across, and I guess I'd like your take on it as well, is what is the right balance between peace and taking action to stand up for what is right in the world of spirituality and the occult?
Mm-hmm. That's like a really deep and good question. Okay, so how do you balance between protecting your peace and standing up for what's right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that goes on like an individual basis for me. Um, no two circumstances could be the same. So, how would you go about balancing it? I guess that's where like empowering your own discernment comes into play. Like if it's something that, so say for instance, if someone's culturally appropriating, but they've got like a minute platform, they're a bit of a nobody, you could choose to politely educate them if that's what it feels right for you to do. Um, Politely educate them unless they push back, is what I mean by that. So, if someone's going to be a butthead, then call a spade, I say. But most people, I feel like culturally appropriate because they just are doing what's around them. At least in Australia, they don't know any different. And yes, we're in the age of Aquarius where there's so much education and so much knowledge, but I think it comes down to as well that like because it's so commonplace here, people don't think to even bother researching because it's so common. But anyway, I'm losing point of the question. Oh, got to rein that train back in, that choo choo. Um, all aboard the Euryale Express. We'll be going here, 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 here.
I'm disappointed that you didn't make a pentagram, just saying.
I know, I was very close to, and then I was like, damn it, why didn't I?
Missed opportunity.
It was 1,000% a missed opportunity. Anyway, yeah, it comes down to like individual basis. So, in the instance of cultural appropriation, like if it's someone that's like a regular Joe, you can choose to politely educate them at first until if they decide to push back, then you can call a spade a spade. But like if it's someone on a larger platform, they really should know better. They've got a much larger following or people that look up to them. They really should have done their own research by now and I don't know, made better choices. So the fact that they're at that platform stage where they're still making those choices makes me think that you've already decided to be an asshole and just don't care. So me personally, I would call them out on it and probably be a bit see you next Tuesday-ish. Um, took all my strength not to say the actual word then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in that instance, yeah, call a spade a spade. But then there's other instances where you might not have the spoons to do as such. So it all comes down to like your own personal discernment of where your body's at and where you are at mentally to decide whether you have the energy to invest in something like this or not. But I always stand strong in advocating for issues, which is why me and Wolf started the Four of Wands podcast. So we could give platform to these issues spoken from people within those communities. Now, cultural appropriation is just one in a world and sea full of issues within spirituality. But that's my stance, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I would agree. And adding to, I guess, what you were saying as well, like having that responsibility. I think one of the key things too was you mentioned people who have larger platforms and who have quite a few people, especially those that are vulnerable, that are looking up to them. So it's, I feel like it becomes a responsibility at that stage as well for them to teach correctly in
100%.
that instance. It's more or less, it is a responsibility, and it is a huge responsibility. And when you have so many people that are coming to you for that advice, yeah, like most definitely. um I
Well,
wanted to
it's
also
even like
touch,
if you, sorry to cut
here you
you
go.
off, even if you
Mm-hmm.
take like us into account, like we don't have hundreds of thousands upon people following, but we both started our platforms with the ideal that we were going to stay strong to our morals and ethics and build up from that, build right relationship with the
Mm-hmm.
community that we're a part of and the community that we want to foster rather than just doing what's eye catching and grabbing, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't to appease to the masses. And I guess I can
It was
only speak from
authentic.
my, sorry.
It was authentic.
Yeah, like it was, especially when I started on my own journey, very much so listening to my body, which is another thing that you mentioned as well. Like I'd listen to my body in a lot of instances as well, and did what I felt was right, especially with those moments. I didn't just do things because it was demanded of me because people had seen other people doing it. And just because other people do it doesn't mean that you have to follow suit, or that it's even an expectation that needs to be met by somebody that you know interact with in the community either. Like, a short example of that is pretty much like the standard yes no questioning of third parties.
Mm-hmm.
Those sorts of things have not really been a cup of tea of mine, and they didn't feel right with me, so I steered away from that. And I guess that was me finding part of the right balance in um, taking action and keeping my peace.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
that old saying of snitches get stitches, and you don't want to get stitches for any of your bitches.
right.
Do you have anything else to add to that question? I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah, like I guess it's all coming back to everything that we've been talking about, but this is the more light-hearted side of it, and the common questions, I guess, that we kind of found in the whole Reddit thread. So, yeah.
Yep, I agree. Does that mean that it's my turn to ask you a question?
Oh, no.
What is the meaning of life? No. you
Life.
dis you disconnected.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know.
Me either. Am I back though?
You're back.
Please hold for these technical difficulties.
You just vanished into the ether. Vanished into the ether.
Oh no. Okay, do you want to ask that question again? Clearly, Spirit want to play games.
Oh, it wasn't even, I didn't even get a chance to ask it. I just looked up to ask you and then you vanished. And then I was just like, hello? Okay, but anyway, back to the question that I didn't ask yet. Okay, on a scale of deep, how deep do you want to go?
You're going to hit me with the deep questions. You
I
always
am.
do. It
I
has
really
been,
do.
I don't know, what?
Okay, I think this one spins off good from the last topic, the last
Okay.
conversation. Okay, so why aren't enlightened people always serving humanity? So I put enlightened in quotation marks because that's what the question on Reddit asked, but arguably a appropriative term depending on the
You
context.
had
But
to pick the question that was going to make me want to rage.
well, it's your turn to be on a soapbox. I've been on it enough. It's your turn.
Look, for me, it's those that are enlightened or claim to be enlightened are also those that are very heavily touted in the New Age experience. And within the New Age experience, the whole love and light aspiration of what it was meant to be was not what it became in the slightest, and it all became very self-serving and selfish, and very much about the you know capitalization of almost an well, in most cases ancient practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me, I guess, sums up in a very short term why these enlightened people aren't always serving humanity, because they don't have their best interests at heart, only their own, in their experience and their journey. And look, for some, that's fine. Comes down to the two core things that I always say too is don't hurt anyone and don't be a shit. See you next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but unfortunately, for those um, that do try to essentially capitalize off something in that new age realm, definitely comes off very conceited and selfish and self-centered. And I could continue on my little rant, but I will leave that there. What about you?
um. Well, to come off what you're saying, I guess the only thing that well, not the only thing, but one of the core things that witchcraft has taught me is that all I know is that I know nothing. And your beliefs, morals, ethics, it's all subjective. It's all based on your perspective at your time currently. So who I am 10 years ago is not who I am now and not who I will be in 10 years from now. It's all based on perspective. All you know is that change is inevitable and you cannot stop it. And all you know is that you know nothing. But to be ignoring of the term enlightened, I think the question was asking like, why is it that more spiritual people, or like the woke community, to paraphrase it, aren't serving humanity more? And I guess that comes down to like what the collective conscious, if that's what you want to call it, I hate using that term, but
Mm.
the way humans are made is all about survival, and survival is relevant to like you personally and the people that you love, the people that are closest to you. It's nothing to do with like the collective people, unfortunately. So humans aren't built that way intrinsically. But then also it all comes down to like morals and ethics. And also spoons. Most people that are woke, that are quality people, also have less spoons to spend than the normies, I guess. And I say quality people as in like people that are wanting more and better for society and the collective humanity, not that they're inherently better as people. But yeah, I think it all comes down to personal morals and ethics as well. Like, chances are, if you do have a larger platform where you can influence a large population of people, like we've seen with the celebrities, like people blocking them and stuff, like, chances are you didn't get there because you were a decent human being. Chances are you got there because you squashed the people underneath you. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get to the top and you're not talking about what people actually care about down in the community. You're talking about you and the community that you're closest to, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that too. Like that, you know, aside from the spirituality aspect that we talk about here, but that was one of the biggest. Well, so far it's been one of the biggest and most powerful movements. Is that whole blocking crusade against those who are in a place of power, who have the ability to make real change and use their platforms for good, who aren't. And that is also breeding its own culture. And if we go back to that question of why aren't enlightened people always serving humanity,
Mm-hmm.
it's because of what you said as well. Chances are they've squashed people to get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again,
Exactly.
the spoons thing too. That's really important as well. Like so many beautiful people in our community that we've come across, you know, they've got their own things going on in terms of the physical human experience that they are dealing with here. And but they will speak up.
Yeah.
You know, it may not be on a grand scale or on, you know, a huge on a huge platform, but they will speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how small the voice, it has an impact.
Exactly. And I think that was like why I really enjoyed the blocking movement, is because even though you are one person, if enough people have the same morals and ethics as you and take the same action, that one small action of it turns into this ripple effect that has a much grander effect.
Mm-hmm. Like we could essentially use like one of the recent things that's been happening in time with one piece of music, and how far that has reached and how that has also brought a lot of people out of the woodworks to speak up on certain matters as well,
Mm-hmm.
or to lend a voice, whether it be through sharing of content, a song, what have you. It's all about that voice.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
100%. I like the deep questions,
Yeah.
especially the ones that relate to morals and ethics, because I love morals and ethics. And just FYI, everyone, moral absolutionism does not exist. But that'll be another episode. One which I will get on my academic without any form of formal degree and talk from a place that I know nothing about formally.
Oh goodness. All right.
um,
Next question. Have you got anything else, or are you ready for the next question?
Hit me. Hit
All
me with
right.
your best shot.
I just want to hit you with this question. What are your views on to claim use this sound video?
Look, um, hmm. They
3 words. Sum it up. Go.
chain emails 2000. It's giving chain emails from the early 2000s, like, quickly send this out to 10 people, otherwise I'm going to shit on your bread in the morning.
Wow, that's a bit extreme.
What's the first thing that came to my mind? Don't ask why.
Right, so if anybody receives an email from Uriel, make sure you make good. Otherwise,
Quickly share the podcast to 10 people, otherwise Uriel's gonna shit on your bread.
all right, we need to recompose here.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
It's, look, it could definitely be real in the sense of if you had, say, a practitioner did a sound or an audio or something, and they made a video and they had a sigil or like a phrase that they had enchanted and implemented that into the video or the sound, and they've got their own energy source that sigil and the sound or phrase or whatever is tethered to, and it's constantly giving it energy, but they don't want to like intrinsically make it so whoever sees it can gain access to it. It's done via the consent's gained through you sharing it or whatever, interacting with the sound. That's possible, but when it comes to like actually, and I may actually do that because it sounds like it could be fun, but anyway. But when it comes to just like the crap that you see where it's like tarot readings and stuff, quick, use this sound so he'll text you back or whatever, it's like, no, you just want followers and views and comments and stuff to boost your own platform, and it's a bit of a wank stain, really. It's giving, yeah, chainmail 2000, like snake potion seller. It's weird and uncomfortable, and you can't stop it. So all you can do is scroll and not interact and hope that you don't get another one on your page.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Yeah.
you? What do you think?
Yeah, it's very, very much cloudier vibes, as we've mentioned. It's that feeling of impending doom that it unleashes on people.
Right?
Like, I quite often get them, and I can tell you now, the algorithms definitely got it all wrong. I do not want him to text me. Whoever he is, he's not in my life. Thank you.
I'm so tempted, though, to make one quick interact with this audio. Otherwise, I'll shit on your bread.
That might be a Four of Wands TikTok thing, and it's an if you know kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Exactly.
However, I could see you making that and it just taking off.
Right? I feel like it would 100% take off. And just watch it. It'll just be my account reposting it every like couple of weeks or something, making myself laugh. Oh. But do you have
Yeah.
anything else to add to that?
Look, again, discernment. Discernment's probably the big one here. Like, obviously, as well within our community, messages come through in many different forms, and if that's the way you receive messages, that's the way you receive messages. But again, just use of that discernment more than
It's
anything.
always disempowering videos too. Like,
Yeah.
it's never like claim this sound and you'll have a better day tomorrow, or claim this sound and you won't stub your toe for the rest of the day.
Week.
It's
Yeah,
always just like he'll text you back if you use this sound, or like they're
he's coming
thinking
in
about
3
you.
days.
You know they're thinking about you, and they want you just as much as you want them.
Right? I
Glenn.
always get the money will be coming in 3 days, and I'm like, yeah, of course it will. It's payday.
Right?
But I'm not going to like, share, or comment to boost your algorithm.
100% though.
The amount of times I'm like, yeah, it is. Thanks.
Uh, well, I don't think we have anything else to add to that. So,
No.
my turn to ask you a question.
But I kind of want to feed off that one into the next question that I've got for you.
All
I
right,
feel
you
like
go then.
that'll go well.
Okay.
So, a lot of, I guess, with the claim to use sounds, a lot of them are like, or you'll have bad luck, or, something to that accord if you don't give in to their demands of interacting. So that also got me thinking as well with obviously within the occult, and this is one that I feel you would be able to answer because this is more your thing, right? Given within the occult there is a lot of stigma around curses and hexes, what advice would you give for a beginner on their journey?
Mm, start and approach everyone and everything with the mentality of who are you to tell me what to do in my life? If
Summed
that's
up
my
in the
biggest
subtitle.
advice.
F you, I won't do what you tell me.
Pretty much, literally, that is like it summed up in a nutshell. Like, for starters, why when it comes to curses and hexes, there's so much stigma around them. When you look at the roots from it, it's all based in misogyny and some form of control. So, like, even within the Wiccan religion, it was stemmed from inherent misogyny, to control people, in particular women, because in spiritual practices over time, it's mostly women that are performing the magical rites. Not to say men can't, but this is just what's based in history. So it's a form of taking control away from women in a society that already takes their control away. So to say that something is going to come back to you 3 times or 19 times or anything, if you perform a baneful act of magic against someone, shove it up your ass. Stop trying to control me. Who are you? Why should I care? Get off your pedestal and let me do me. And like, I guess it also comes down to like, obviously, not everyone has the same morals and ethics,
Mm.
but, and that's what's amazing about moral absolutionism is that it doesn't exist. There is no overarching rules that binds all of humanity.
That's a topic in its own right. Don't jump ahead.
I know I'm trying so hard not to, but I fucking love this topic. But yeah, like everyone has their own different morals and ethics. And if enough people of their own free will form the same morals and ethics, then the minority morals and ethics become irrelevant. You'll always have butt heads in the world. Like, that's just how it is. You'll always have butt heads that will just throw curses and hexes willy nilly as if they're handing out Cheerios or something. But most people know that it takes too much energy to waste on someone that's crap. But also, it's so empowering when you do decide to do it from a sense of justice or from a sense of gaining, I don't know, retribution for things done to you or done unto you or whatever. To take that power back from a situation
Mm.
and bring it back to the person that had their power taken away from them is so, so empowering, is so, so important. And it's not for everyone, and that's so fine. But just because it's not for you doesn't mean that you have the right to tell other people that it shouldn't be for them either.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to the fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
It's interesting. It's interesting to come from a witch for hire. Like, because obviously, and again, I don't want to go into the whole moral absolution thing because that's going to be a topic within its own right.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you would have been approached for certain aspects, and especially when it comes to curse work and hexes and that whole baneful side of things. So again, I'm going to hold this off until the moral absolution topic, where I'm going to ask you a lot of questions.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's something I'm so passionate about because, yeah, it's a basic human right, I feel, to be able to expect a sense of, I don't know what I'm trying to, like, I don't know how to put this into words, what I'm feeling, but it just feels like it's a basic human right to be able to take back your power that was taken from you. And in a world that doesn't give it freely to a lot of people, baneful magic is one way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right. You want to ask us the last question?
Sure. Okay, let me just have a look at my questions because I want it to be a good one. Ooh, that one's so deep. I got two. Okay, let's do pick question one or question two.
Two.
Two. Okay. Why is death so difficult to understand?
Ooh. Why is death so difficult to understand? I actually don't know how I would answer that question. The first, I guess, the first thing that comes to mind for me is because a lot of people struggle with the finality of that. I feel
Yep.
like, I guess in my experience with death as well, it almost comes with a sense of how things could have played out differently,
Yep.
or how an individual had so much more to do with their time, or things like that. So it becomes like, yeah, I think that's what brings a lot of difficulty with understanding death as well, from, again, the human experience. Um, that's a really, really good question, though. I'd be interested to see what any of our like viewers and listeners have to say on that one as well, to share their experiences.
100%. I think that death is so difficult to understand for many reasons. I think one is the fear of the unknown, the fear of change. As a witch that has walked a path of shadows to find the light, I find that death is a mere change of our observable meat suit. It's just a mere change. So I don't think that it's ever truly final. I think that our energy just transforms into something else. Um, but yeah, I think it's the fear surrounding it that makes it so difficult for people to understand. Also, the fact that it's not commonplace to talk about death. It's also like a kind of a taboo topic. I think that if
Mm-hmm.
people were raised, I'm not saying that there's not people raised in the world that have had that exposure to conversations about death and not seeing it as something that's inherently bad. But I think, at least from the Western world in Australia, I don't think that it's a really commonplace talk to have. Um, I think that, yeah, it's the lack of communication about it, the fear. I had another point and it farted out of my brain again.
2 episodes in a row.
I know, right? Welcome to the fart of wands. But yeah, I think it's ultimately just that unknown aspect that really gets people. Most people are afraid of the unknown, but I guess that's why I like working. I love working with Loki. I'm a devotee to him. Is because chaos is the unknown. It's the potential for everything and the potential for nothing. For all we know, like this is just the first episode of our life, so to say, and we'll come back next episode.
Mhm. That's what I say about each year of my life. That each year essentially is a chapter.
Literally, like this could just be the first book, and then we've got the next book, and then we've
Mhm.
got the pre-books or whatever they're called. What are they called?
Prequels, sequels,
Prequel. That's the word. Pre-book.
pre-books.
But yeah, I honestly just think that that's pretty much it in regards to that.
Yep.
Do we
Yep.
want one more question?
Sure, why not? Go
Okay.
on. Hit us with the last question. You see, you still got your way in the end.
Of course I
The
did.
two questions. Pick one. I picked two.
Okay. What brought about your spiritual awakening?
I think I covered this off a little bit in one of the episodes that we've already done. Um, essentially,
Or how about we paraphrase that?
okay.
What was like the biggest spiritual awakening that you had or went through?
It was definitely the 2017 period that I spoke about.
Yeah.
100%. That to me was a dark night of the soul like no other, so to speak, because um, there was a lot of highlights in terms of aspects of my life that needed to be addressed, resolved, removed, and I needed to I needed to go through that in order to be where I am now. I needed to see the darkness in order to find that light and step into myself essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I've spoken to you about it, and I guess one of the, and this is probably another episode too, kind of like there are different roles and things like that, obviously within the spirituality realm, and quite often a lot of people hear about that, that they're a healer, or and mostly they're a healer because I very rarely hear other terms that are being thrown out there.
Yeah.
For myself, it was that I am a lighthouse, a way shower. They were the two terms that were brought forth to me within that awakening, that spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
So my path has been very much aligned with that. I am more so a way shower. I am able to help people, which is what my morals and ethics are and what my core values come down to, and that being that I'm able to help others find their way. That lighthouse, I'm able to help others find their way. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What about you?
Um, I think my first was when I was a child, but it's also one of those things of like you go through multiple, so
Mm.
you never have just one.
Mm-hmm.
I think, see, for me, like my more recent awakening type things or scenarios, I've always found them to be like when a new brain connection or something's coming in, where something that I didn't think too much about or didn't see as important or was really stuck on understanding has finally made a connection in my brain. It makes sense now. That kind of like brings it on, I find, when I'm having like a deep moment with my spirits and myself and figuring out my place in the universe. It's a little speck. But I always struggle with like finding life, like capitalist life, to be purposeful when going through a spiritual awakening. Like I feel like I'm just this spiritual being that's like, I have to go to work. And trying to do something that's like inherently feels so meaningless. So, if you are going through a spiritual awakening, my piece of advice for you is yes, capitalistic life is meaningless, but we are human here to have a human experience. Remembering that, remembering that I'm human and that at our core root, I believe fun is so important in a human life.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important things in my life, if you're not having fun, what's the point of it? So for me, when going through a spiritual awakening, yes, capitalistic life sucks, but fun is fun. And we're human. So have fun.
I like it. Picasso.
Uh, but I think that I've talked enough. Do you have anything to
Mhm.
add?
No, not really. Thanks for listening to us ramble about Reddit questions today.
That was really fun. I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Also,
Maybe
if
we can.
anyone listening has any questions, we can build a list and we can do this with viewer questions.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
See?
Great minds.
Because we're the two best friends that anybody could have.
Mm, hilarious. But
Okay,
yeah,
but
let's yeah, let's do that. So we'll put all the details in the link in the bio. And as always, you can always reach out to us on any of our platforms. So TikTok and Instagram is where you will find us.
at fourofwands.podcast.
Just one more time at Four of Ones to a podcast.
And you're listening to at fourofwands.podcast. You can find us there on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Or Spotify, whichever. Anyways, on that note, I hope you all enjoyed Yuri's really terrible "What sound does a truck make reversing" on exit last episode before, whichever. How are you taking us out today, Uriel?
I don't know. Thought I'd just leave it up to the